what's happened to Retrodude's video? He's not pressed play on YouTube or on Twitch. I'm joking. Metal Gear. Where's everybody gone? Anagon, fix this thing quickly. Where's Meryl? She's my sweet again baby. I forgot to mention one thing. Caribou. There's caribous everywhere. Arr! Arr! Hello everybody, this is for all Metal Gear fans. This great game from '98 was made by Konami, and the director was Hideo Kojima, and the producer was Motoyuki Yoshio Sorakawa. I can't pronounce that, sorry. So the programmers was Kazunobu Yuhara, and the artist who created the excellent images you see is Yoki Shinkawa, and the writers was obviously Hideo Kojima and Tomokaze Fukushima. And also the greatest soundtracks created in this game was Kazuki Mokuoka, Hiroki Togo, Tsunshara Aishiyama, Lijo Moyong, and Moiki Kurokai, if you prefer. This excellent game alone was tracked in the greatest sales of the Stratosphere numbers. It sold approximately 1.6 million copies worldwide and earned this amount on the screen. And the demos was estimated 12 million demos for the game were distributed in 1998. This indeed was one of the greatest cinematic games of our generation lifetime on the graceful, excellent Sony PlayStation 1. It has been countless reviews giving it all praise across the board, including All Game 5 stars, CVG 9 out of 10, Edge Magazine 9 out of 10, EGM 40 out of 40, Famitsu 37 out of 40, GamePro 5 out of 5, Game Revolution A-, GameSpot 8.5 out of 10, Hyper 93%, IGN 9.8 out of 10, Next Generation 5 out of 5, OPM UK Magazine 10 out of 10, OPM USA 10 out of 10, Arcade 5 stars, and GMR 10 out of 10. What can I say? This is an absolute greatest franchise that's also spin-off to prequels, sequels, novels, artistry, excellent music tracks. What more can you say? And we are going to dive into one of the greatest bits in Metal Gear Solid, the video game, and a brief history about each of the actors, of course, Cam Clark and David Hayter, and of course Hideo Kojima himself. So in the year 2005, a renegade bunch of misfits and genetically super ultra powerful people, genetically enhanced special forces unit Foxhound seizes the control of a remote control island. I'm only kidding, guys. I meant to say remote island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago, codenamed Shadow Moses, which houses nuclear weapons of mass destruction in a disposable facility. Foxhound threatens the use of nuclear-capable Metal Gear Rex being secretly tested at the facility against the US government's will. If they do not receive the remains of Big Boss and ransom $1 billion within 24 hours, Solid Snake is forced out of retirement by Colonel Roy Campbell to infiltrate the island and neutralize the threat. Screams some similarity to James Bond. If you could hear the soundtrack, you will hear it right now. This intro is absolutely amazing because I did not realize before this was actually from another game called Police Knots, an excellent game from 1994, but this is the PlayStation version from '96, as you're seeing it before you. Now, Hideo Kojima, can you please localize this game onto the Nintendo Switch, or even put it on PS5 or Xbox Series X, please? I would like to play this with achievements. That'd be really cool. Thank you. Cheers.
The nuclear weapons disposal facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago was attacked and captured by Next Generation Special Forces, being led by members of Foxhound. They're demanding that the government turn over the remains of Big Boss. And they say that if their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon. You'll have two mission objectives. First, you're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the president of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Both are being held as hostages. Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike. And stop them if they do.
What's the insertion method?
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim. High-Tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound. Your former unit, and one that I was a commander of.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mattis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound's squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake?
The man with the same codename as you. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As usual, this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP?
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
Here is the greatest Canadian actor, David Hayter, who was basically an actor on the Metal Gear Solid series. He was also done a lot of movie roles, and I will mention in a sec. He was a screenwriter, director, and a producer. He did a couple of jobs on the X-Men 1 and 2 movies as well, which was very cool indeed. David Hayter also starred in a really cool movie called Dark Hero, basically from 1994. He was basically the character of the protagonist of Sean Barker as the Guyver suit of Bio Armor of Death. A very cool movie indeed. Go and watch it if you can. What an absolute talent he is. Our greatest actor there is. Here is a fascinating history about David Hayter. He began providing the English voice acting of Metal Gear Solid series protagonist Solid Snake in the form of 98 video game on the PlayStation 1, which also served as the series transition from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. David Hayter will go on to play Solid Snake and his predecessor Naked Snake throughout all the succeeding installments, including spin-offs, re-releases, adaptations, up to the including of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker on the PSP that was released in 2010. Hayter will also have extended live-action cameo appearances as himself in one of the fictional TV programs prior to the start of the MGS4 Guns of the Patriots 2008 release that was released on the PlayStation 3, where he wears this solid eye, which is a really cool name for a technological eye patch. Basically advance the eye patch with the main character that wears throughout the game, outside of the Metal Gear Solid series. David Hayter also voiced the character in Super Smash Bros. In 2008 on the Nintendo Wii! Not the Wii U, of course. Haha. Now we're going to dive into more of his work. So in the MGS series, also David Hayter did the voice work on the other video games projects, such as Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem on the GameCube, and Star Wars The Old Republic. Very cool CV, I might add. Or should we say biography. He cited the series of an influence on his screenwriting that stated that Hideo Kojima and I have different styles, but I have certainly learned a lot of things from him. Well guys, I can't pronounce this word, but it's on the screen, and telling a story without giving all the answers away. David Hayter is one of the greatest Metal Gear Solid actors to have played and completed games that he was starred in. According to Paul Edding, David Hayter gave up half of his own paycheck, which is really awesome of him. That is kudos in my book. And in order to bring back the original voice cast of Metal Gear Solid for the 2004 remake of Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, which was also on the GameCube, that used the same engine from Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PlayStation 2. Very cool transition from that to another console. Amazing.
Is that all you've got, brother?
Cam Clark, who's also voiced in this game of Liquid Snake, is an American voice actor known for his great works in animation, cartoons, and video games and commercials alike. Among his notable roles as Leonardo, the lead turtle from TMNT, as in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, with also voicing Rocksteady in the actual show. That was aired in 1987. Shintaro Kaneda in the 1989 was also in the movie called Akira, and yes, it was an amazing movie, but very bizarre plot and very confusing. If you have not read the books, I would urge you guys to read the books before you watch the movie. Here we go. So Cam Clark began his acting career in the Hollywood Palace as the King Family Show. He, as you can find on YouTube, I imagine, he continued to perform his family on the various TV shows, specials until the 80s, when he got his first great acting role in The Snorks and Robotech. He was also taught by Michael Bell. So, as I got an up-to-date information from my sources, Cam Clark has basically voiced over 400 titles from 1987 to 1996. What an absolute legend. You deserve a great honours for this. Basically, a great unique actor. So Clark would reprise the role of Leonardo Turtle again in the non-musical spoken portions of the first show of the TMNT Coming Out of Their Shells tour concert, which was designed around the Turtles' characters, held at Radio City Music Hall. Now that will give you nightmare fuel for the rest of this video, especially where we're gaping mouths of hell through the later VHS tape release of the events that leaves him uncredited. Oh, that's a real shame. He should have got credits for that. If you want to know a really fascinating history about this character, Liquid Snake, he was also in another PlayStation game called Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, also on Xbox, I meant to say, sorry. And he was portrayed as the nickname White Mamba, and his real name was actually Ellie. So, and I want to say this, I don't know how to put this into words, but I want to thank you, Cam Clark. I'm a huge fan of your work. I really adore the cartoon show of the TMNT show back in the day, and I like the fact you took on this role. You must have had a lot of voice acting lessons, because you nailed the British humor, the wittiness, and the great charm of this character, because it wasn't Leon Terrible. I know that was a very bad joke, but you know, he did a fantastic job, and you need to be celebrated. Thumbs up galore. So I like to welcome onto the stage on this video, basically right now, Hideo Kojima. He is a video game designer, writer, director, producer. A very cool dude indeed, and a great genius of making this game and many more games I mentioned. So, Hideo Kojima was born on August 24th, 1963. He developed a strong passion for arcade adventure cinema and literature during his childhood years and adolescence. In 1986, he was hired by Konami he have designed and basically wrote Metal Gear for the 1987 MSX computer, a game that laid the foundations and multiple pathways for the sequel genre and the Metal Gear Solid series. He was best known and most anticipated works. He was also known for producing Zone of the Enders on the PlayStation 2, which is now his most fantastic Gundam style game. You have to play it, guys, it's amazing. And as well as writing and designing a Snatcher that was on Mega CD, PC Engine, and all those other consoles. And of course, the one that I showed you a little brief footage at the beginning of the intro, the Policenauts from 1994. A graphic novel stylization of the game, which you go multiple pathways of choosing endless paths of different text that can lead to different scenarios of each game. Hideo Kojima's love of films is notable in his games, where he pays homage, I might add, to his stories and characters, sometimes to the point of pastiche. As in an example of Snatcher, he cited a contrast between films and games, while his games intend to portray huge amounts of violence in like the movie. And in the game, it's up to the player to decide when he wants to understand the effects of violence. He considers the games too stressful in many aspects, and he also wants the comic relief to contrast it, so it's like a weird way of artistry. So Snatcher, it was inspired by many science fiction movies, obviously including Blade Runner, which is a massive influence into the game, obviously. Akira, The Thing, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and The Terminator, which is really cool because he's a huge movie buff and he loves movies, and that's where he injects a lot of stuff into the Metal Gear Solid games, as you see. Examples influencing include Solid Snake's codename, named after Snake Plissken from Escape from New York, which was Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty on the PlayStation 2 that was released in 2001. So he watched the movie and actually implemented that in that name. Here is an interesting fact. Snake's real name was actually Dave from the actual 2001 A Space Odyssey movie, and also the bandana was from the Deer Hunter for the Infinite Ammo. This was an interesting quote by Hideo Kojima for about storyline development and interaction with media. Storytelling is a very difficult thing, but adding a flavor helps the player relay the story groundworks, meaning in a cutscene with a set camera and effects, you can make user feel sorrow, sadness, or make them happy or laugh or cry. This is an easy approach, which we have been doing. This is the one point, and also the second point is that to make multiple storyline paths, as I mentioned, allow users to select which story this might really sacrifice to for deep emotional. The user might feel that there's a concrete storyline and that you can go along it, that rail, and you feel the destiny of that story as it travels, which at the end makes you feel more moved. But then you make it interactive, and if you want to multiple stories, there you go one way or another in other directions, which is really cool. That make the player more moved, and when he or she finishes the game, the 2 points are really the key, which I'm thinking about. And if it works, I could possibly introduce more interactive storytelling methods. Kojima was informally asked to take over the project Metal Gear from a senior associate. Hardware limitations also hindered the development of the game's combat. Kojima altered the gameplay to focus on a prisoner escaping instead of fighting. Inspired by The Great Escape with Steve McQueen, it was released on July 13, 1987 for the MSX home computer yet again in Japan, and on September of that year in Europe. The player controls a Special Forces operative codenamed Solid Snake, who in the AVGN episode said erect cock. Yes, I know, kind of dirty. Who is sent to fortify the state of Outer Haven to stop a nuclear walking death machine, Metal Gear. Metal Gear is one of the early examples of the stealth game genre. A port of the Metal Gear was released to the formerly NES in 1987 with altered graphics, difficulty, and to a bridge ending without the articulated weapon. Yes, which was not called Metal Gear in the NES, and the front cover was very misleading. Kojima has openly criticized many of the changes made in that port, including poor translation issues and the abridged ending. And in an interview, a programmer on the NES version of the game, he said the team were asked to complete the port in only three months. That is too short for a game development. That's crazy. And the NES hardware was not capable of implementing the Metal Gear fight. They must have run out of probably RAM and all those chips to obviously put him on the screen, which explains why he's not in the game. Weird. You guys can read up about this great man in greater detail. However, he did depart from Konami because he wanted to create more bigger, ambitious games with a bigger budget. But obviously, Konami wouldn't take it, and they let him go, which was a very bad decision. Konami, I'm sorry, but I have to put my stance on it. But it was a very terrible move, and that's why it really bit you in the ass. However, what really infuriated me, I mean, I feel sorry for Hideo Kojima. If you're watching this, you should have got that award from Jeff Keighley, because Konami denied him to the show to accept the award, which was a big slap to the face to all the great fans out there who supported his work. Can we all agree with that? I want metal beer. Oh, Hideo Kojima, you make me laugh. Right, so this is an interesting scenario. So you're trying to progress in the game, and you're finding where is the code to contact Meryl. Well, funny enough, if you watch the conversation with Colonel Campbell in the codec conversation, he'll actually inform you to go outside the box, like literally breaking the fourth wall, and go to the CD case on the original game, and it will tell you to contact on the screenshot right in front of you 140.15, and it's actually really good. So it progresses the story along again, and it's a really interesting gaming mechanic of going, of thinking like, where is the code? It's like a treasure hunt, but it's really done really so extremely well. Thank you, Hideo Kojima. Here is one of the members of Foxhound, basically Psycho Mantis, a scary villain in the weirdest way possible. He's one of the most unique bosses in video game history for this reason alone. Hideo Kojima did something really clever here. He basically taught the player of going outside the box yet again, like the CD case, but however, with gameplay mechanics altered in your favor. So, in other words, he can read your mind. So, it's quite scary though, because if you put your controller in port 1, he can still read your mind through your movements of the movement of the analog stick and the buttons. But however, you can beat him by swapping the port 1 to port 2, and then he will start to panic and say, "I can't read your mind?" Very scarily awesome, and it's one of the most funniest boss battles ever, and it's very unique and a very bizarre way of beating a boss. How about that? And I like the fact he uses like a Hideo screen as well to blank the player as well, and you gotta just basically use the Phasma's awesome assault weapon to basically just take him out quickly. And yeah, I like this. One of the most greatest battles ever. As I forgot to mention as well, guys, is he can also detect the memory card saves that you installed. So if you put any Konami games, he'll read out Castlevania, for instance, and all the other stuff, which is really awesome. And also, he'll tell you stats of how you played the game so far during disc 1 of Metal Gear Solid, which is absolutely cool. So it's like a speedrun kind of thing, gag, which is very funny. Kojima based on the new weapon Nikita after a really cool movie called La Femme Nikita, 1990 movie by Luc Besson. It's one of the most coolest movies ever, and what I like about this weapon, guys, is you can change in any course of direction of the path, which is very cool indeed, and it's one of the most awesome unique weapons, and then you could do some really funny stuff with this. Like for a couple of examples, here we go.
Alrighty then, I'll go to farm, I'll miss all at you. Look at me go! I'm so fast at you, and I'm gonna smack down on you like Mike Tyson. Whoa, baby! I'm gonna do it again, and you don't see me. I'm fresh, don't shoot me right now. Boom, baby! And if I ring again, and I don't know how much fuel I got left, so boom! And then we go boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna play a game of
So after defeating Sniper Wolf in the sniper bit round, which was really quite exhilarating and stuff like that, you are captured. And then a Revolver Ocelot, or Shadow Sasuke should we say, is basically interrogating you about the optical disc. And basically was inspired by track and field, obviously from that game, you know, when you have to rapid press the button, the circle button. Yes. And there's actually been memed to death as well on many social media sites, including Facebook, which is really funny. It's a massive giant circle button. So basically, there are two ways to play this game, which I really do like. So it actually creates a more longevity of a product of a video game. So you can replay the game multiple times. You can either save Meryl, which that's the best ending, to be honest, because I like saving Meryl, or you could save Oregon. And then the problem is with Oregon, you don't say Meryl, so it's kind of like the good and the bad ending type of thing. But man, you got to have rapid fingers of God. It is so good though, and really unique game for its time. Welcome to another awesome battle. Now you're facing a robot ninja, a cyborg ninja, if you will, called Grey Fox, who's basically Frank Diego, who died in the previous games. And he's seeking revenge from Solid Snake, which is really cool. So it's basically like Mike Tyson, sort of like Lennox Lewis type of a match, you know, when you use your fists. And he basically talks about seeking revenge. But he has a deep, dark history that is really deeply fascinating to see unfold in front of your eyes. Especially when he basically becomes villainous and then helps Solid Snake out in the final battle. So it's a really beautiful transition from revenge to a hero in a way, which is a really cool thing. So as you see more in the game, it's such a good fight, and I like the fact, you know, you're not using your guns in this one, which is really cool. So you basically got to play like a robot game of hide and seek with the actual automaton of death. As the saying goes, hindy mine yourself. I know, there's nothing to joke about a scary Russian helicopter. That was also in Rambo 3. Yeah, a very cool helicopter, I must admit. So basically, this is the first encounter with Liquid Snake, as you see on the screen. So he tries to take you out with missile fire, and it screams also movie scene, and it also screams another movie scene that I seen very similar to that of Die Hard with John McClane. So, as he uses the hose to escape from enemy fire, however, in this one, he uses the rope to get down to safety, which is a really cool nod to that movie. Well done. This is the most scariest boss battle. I introduce you to Metal Gear Rex, the one that Oregon mentions in the previous middle half of the game, where he tells you a story about, you know, he could propel nuclear warheads from his rail cannon. So that's really cool though. And what I like about this boss battle, it's the most intense battle in the video game history, when you gotta dodge his laser fire, dodge his gunfire, dodge his barrage of missile fire, and you got part 1 of this battle, which is this one, and then part 2 you'll see Grey Fox come back again, saving Solid Snake. I've also put the part 2 of this final battle in my top 10 best Metal Gear Solid moments, if you'd like to check that out on YouTube. Thank you very much, guys. Here is Meryl, basically Colonel Campbell's niece, that you have to rescue from the Colonel himself, because that was a request from him to say, please save my daughter. And obviously, Solid Snake, like a soldier, has to follow orders. He does it blindly without any questions asked. So Hideo Kojima was fascinated with a lot of women and girls in particular. He's been quoted quite a lot as being a bit of a pervert, but you know, we can glance that aside though, because the whole idea of this game is to show character development, from seeing Meryl being so in denial of her abilities and being quite weak, but then she becomes a stronger character in the end. This is what I like about this character. You know, she gets stronger each time, and she's actually really useful in this game for because obviously with Psycho Mantis implanting, you know, the layouts of the Claymore mines when you face Sniper Wolf in the later section of the game, and she knows the complex of Shadow Moses buildings and building layouts, which is really cool. She's a very useful ally in this game. Obviously, if she wasn't in this game, Snake would have been lost completely, of course. And also, if you meet Decoy Octopus in the first bit, Meryl will be doing her stretches exercise, but apparently you could go in and try and look down. She actually does wear her knickers, which is kind of weird and kind of weird Easter egg. But however, if you don't see it right, she still wears she's still fully clothed in that way on the bed, which is very odd. But yes, she was also in another game, which I'll show you right now. And what I like about this character, she has that really awesome tattoo on her arm, basically from the old MSX game of the Foxhound logo, which is absolutely cool as hell. Here is the most greatest scene ever in all video game history. This quote has stuck with me for the rest of my life. As you can see, can love bloom on the battlefield, which is a really powerful quote that will echo through the ages for all of us, you know, in every generation of growing up. This is why I love this game so much, because it has so many quotations and also a powerful message behind it. And now here's the final thoughts about Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation. I like to tell you something, guys, that really deeply fascinated me. Back in '98, I read an issue of Games Master that showed the review of Metal Gear Solid, and it said that at the end overview, basically like the final review bit, you know, that little column bit, it said this was like a McDonald's meal. It was over too quickly, and I can see where they got that analogy from, because, you know, when you take a bite size and you want more and more content, but you know, I think what Games Master didn't see back in the day was there is multiple ways of playing this game, though, with endless secrets galore. You know, if you finish this game, you can actually get a camera and actually take pictures of the ghosts of the team at the very beginning of the stage, which I think is an absolute fantastic Easter egg. There's many more things you could do. You can get the bandana to have infinite ammo. You can have you know, and the cool thing I like about this game is it has a ranking system at the end, very similar to like Resident Evil games from Capcom. You know, how long can you beat this game, though, like an excellent speed run. And this game, guys, made me want to get a PlayStation for a lot of great reasons, because I remember back in '95 I bought the PlayStation and I was playing a lot of Wipeout, and I said I was really excited for the prospect of this console blooming from a very early age of video game life. And then when I saw the footage and the screenshots for this game, I was very excited of the prospect of playing a stealth game. You know, you're not going around gun blazing everything. You know, you got to use your intellect to survive. And this is what I like about Hideo Kojima. He actually interjects a great amount of references from movies, Easter eggs, all across the board, packaged in a beautiful silver disc. And I like the fact this was on 2 discs as well, because obviously with the limitations of CDs back in the day, they can only hold so much data. You will find this hard to believe, guys, but every single year, on one occasion, I would play this game all the way through, even with a bad ending with Otacon and of course saving Meryl, because it's an absolute joyous, funnest game I ever played. You know, there's multiple branching paths of different ways of the storytelling goes. It's like a role-playing game books, I remember, you know, the old fantasy novels. Of that concept style is really leading multiple paths to multiple story entities in exploration and a thought thinking of being, like, you know, quite smart about, you know, where the story can lead to in a different way. I like that, and I love the music in this game. The music is outstanding, and the Blast Furnace music is just incredible. A really cool industry type of crazy, scary, metalized music. I don't know if that's the right word, but metalized in really cool military themes throughout the game. As I'm saying this right now, Hollywood is actually really considering making a Metal Gear Solid movie for real on the silver screen, starring Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake, and I can't wait to see how that unfolds with the trailers. Bring it, Hollywood. I can't wait to see it. And as from this day forth, After playing this great masterpiece of a game, I was a huge fan. I wanted to go back to playing his old games on the MSX, and of course the new generations of consoles, including the PlayStation 2 with MGS2, Sons of Liberty, which I thought was amazing pinnacle of excellence in technology improvements compared to the original PlayStation. And of course, leaping over to like Metal Gear Solid 3 as well, which is a prequel to many more things. It's kind of like Hideo Kojima reminds me of George Lucas, a mysterious man of genius, and of doing like when he makes these games, he has to try and connect them somehow to the old previous games, to prequels, to sequels, which can get a little bit confusing, but however, I like the mystery of unraveling it, you know, the whole history of Metal Gear in many games, including Peace Walker as well on the PSP as well, and of course having the history of Big Boss as well explained in many ways as well. In other words, thank you to the team who made this game. Thank you to Hideo Kojima for your excellent direction and being a great director. Thank you to Cam Clark for his excellent voice work on Liquid Snake. And of course, David Hayter, an absolute legend, for portraying one of the greatest protagonists in all video game history, Solid Snake. Now guys, I want your opinions right now. Do you want me to work on a next greatest game? Which I'm thinking of doing maybe GoldenEye next, or probably Metal Gear Solid 2, because I really enjoyed that game as well. So if you want to submit your comments of what games I should cover next, that'd be great guys. And thank you for watching, and as the saying goes, retro forever.